Because Islam and Christianity share an idea of a single creator God, many people wonder what exactly is the difference between Allah of Islam and the God of the Bible. Well, today I want to look at one particular extremely important difference between these two conceptions of who God is. Both religions teach that God and man relate in certain ways, that there are ways that God relates to us and ways we are to relate to God. And when you think of the main difference between Islam and Christianity, what I want you to remember is that Christianity has one additional way that God relates to man, and one additional way that man can relate to God. So both religions teach that God relates to man initially through creation. The God of the universe is a creator God. Islam and Christianity agree that God first acted in creating everything. And of course, that gives him an innate authority, an innate glory as the creator. And then secondly, both the Quran and the Bible tell us that God relates to human beings through command. God not only creates, he commands. He gives us certain moral laws, certain ways we should relate to him. And that is a second area of agreement. Now, of course, exactly what obedience looks like is going to be different in Islam versus Christianity. But apart from the specifics of exactly what those commands look like, both religions agree that God commands. And of course, that leads then to a primary way that we need to relate to God, which is in obedience. So again, both Christianity and Islam agree that the individual person is to obey. That is how we relate to God. And of course, a part of that obedience is worship. So on those three areas, Christianity and Islam are in agreement. God creates, God commands, and we are to obey. But that is essentially where Islam closes the book. Those are the primary ways that Allah relates to man, and that's how man is to relate to Allah. Christianity, on the other hand, says that if that's all we have, then we have nothing but damnation. That if that is the only hope we have, then we have no hope at all. In fact, if we look at the Old Testament, much of the Old Testament is concerned with showing, through a series of pictures, histories, prophets, that when God simply commands, man cannot obey. We are not good enough in ourselves to satisfy God's command, so we have a insurmountable burden of guilt. Our sins are an insoluble problem, which is why Christianity gives us another way that God relates to man, which then opens up another way for us to relate to God. So because in Christianity, the weight of our own sinfulness, our own inability to please Most High, Most Holy God, means that then God comes down as a man. And God relates to us then through redemption, through atonement, where very God of very God, the Creator, the Commander, comes down and says, I will be a man, I will bear the burden of sin, and I will die. Which explains, incidentally, one of the things that Islam finds most curious about Christianity. The idea that a prophet of God, even one that we believe to be God himself, could die. That does not seem just. That does not seem right, the Muslim says. Precisely, the Christian answers. That is the point. The prophet, God himself, Jesus, did not need to die for himself. He was dying to make atonement, to redeem his people who are called by his name. And so God, in relating to us in that additional way, opens up a path for us then to come to him. And we come to him in a new way too. It's a way, yes, still of obedience and worship, but also coming to him as children, sons and daughters. in a relationship of love. In Islam, paradise is basically a nice place to stay. There are good, sensual delights. But in Christianity, we are coming not just into a pleasant place, but we are coming into the very presence, the very house of God himself, who calls us not servants, not slaves, but sons and daughters, because we can come in completely clean, completely pure, clothed in the righteousness of Jesus Christ, with our sins paid for by his sacrifice. So God comes to us in redemption, and we come to him as children. That's a way of relating which Islam has no conception of. Now, the simple fact that one picture may be more beautiful, may be more appealing than another, of course doesn't tell us that one picture is right and the other is wrong. It is at least possible that Islam is correct and Christianity isn't. I do not believe that's possible, but at least on this particular point, the simple fact that Christianity's picture is more beautiful doesn't tell us that it's also more true. But here's what we can say, simply from comparing what Islam offers of God and his relation to man with what the Bible offers of God and his relation to man. What we can say is this, that if the God of Christianity, the God of the Bible, the God of Jesus, if that God is true God, then he offers better promises and a better hope than the God of the Quran holds out to us.